Yeah, so this is going to be the first podcast of many. Parker just flew down here from Miami. He's going to be here for the weekend, and we were been talking about the podcast for about 2-3 months now, so now we're finally doing it. But so this is going to be the first episode. We're probably going to be posting every week between me and Parker, and then Mark's going to probably be jumping in too, because you were just doing your podcast with Book and Koala. So you said that there's a software or whatever that they're using.
Yeah, there's a software we'll do. When we're doing remote today, we wanted to shoot one while we were all in the same place. So, exciting. We've been building something in the background for a long time here now, and cool to have a platform to start talking about it. So, I wanted to actually hear from both of you guys, because you've both been in this game a lot longer than I have been. I've been in this space for about 6 months. You guys both now over a year. And just curious for you guys if there was a certain threshold that was the hardest to break through, or if someone's watching this and they're like, I want to take a jump into remote cleaning, but I'm not sure what to expect. What was that jump that was so difficult? Was it 0 to 10K? Was it 10 to 20? Was it beyond 30? And how did you get around that?
Yeah, so before we even do that, there's probably going to be a lot of people that's watching this podcast that have never even seen our content before. So what Parker's been talking about, and we're going to have our Instagrams, TikToks, all our social medias. Parker's huge on Twitter too, in the description of the podcast and everything like that. But basically, my story is I went to school at Elon, class of 2022, had a finance degree, econ double major. Did that, always thought that I was going to be, whether it was investment banking, financial advising, wealth management, I don't know. I went to high school. I always thought that there was going to be a day in my life where after I graduate college, I was going to get this crazy job that was going to be making $120,000 a year, $150K a year when I'm 40. I thought that was a lot of money back in the day. So yeah, I went to Elon. It was a great business school. Stuck through the program, and then in 2020, I came to the realization that I didn't want to do that anymore. There's a lot of stuff that went down in 2020. We basically were locked down for a good amount of the time from Massachusetts, Cape Cod, so the policies and everything like that were pretty strict, so I was home a lot, and then I was also working at Dunkin'. But that's when I started TikTok. That's when I started creating content, started my first stock Discord, started to make some money online for the first time, which was really cool. I was doing $150 to $500 a month after my first month with my stock Discord, and I thought that was the coolest thing, because I'm just this kid that's 20 years old in college. And at least for me, and I don't know about you guys, but when I was in high school going to college, it's you don't make any money for the entire school year, and then school year's over, you get a job for the summer, you work a summer job for 2 months, and then you're back to school. And now it's how do I manage to not blow up my entire bank account for those 8 months?
Yeah.
Dude, that first online money just opens up a completely different perspective of what the world really is. It's growing up, all I thought was cool, get a job, go work, go make your salary, get your bi-weekly paycheck, and then it's when you make that first, whether it's $50, $100, $1,000 online, you're yo, this is real. This is money that's actually hitting my account now. So it really opens up your eyes to what is out there. And that's I actually got that taste when I was over at University of Miami. Went there 4 years, started up first business YouTube channel, started monetizing that, and I was I'm just sitting here making a couple videos, posting it on YouTube, and making a couple $1,000s a month. I was this is insane. I was in college. I ended up spending a lot of that money instead of reinvesting all that money down in the city, but it was solid. I mean, did that throughout the majority of undergrad, graduated, ended up working a sales job, had a bunch of success. And then realized it was hey, I'm already more or less my own boss. I'm closing my own deals. Let's actually just go and pull the trigger, do this on my own fully. Opened up my first cleaning business down here in Miami, and just started cash flowing. To answer your question though, hardest part by far was $10,000 to $20,000. I think when you first get up, you can get the right ads going. You can really hey, immediately start making money online with it. But then if you really want to take it serious and you really want to get to the next level, there's a lot more actual qualifications to go get to the next level, right? You need to be a good operator. You need to make sure you're getting high quality cleaners. You need to make sure that everything isn't just falling through the cracks. Because, I mean, anyone can go get to, like, a couple grand a month, 10 grand a month with the right advertising and the right systems in place. But, like, to take it to that next level, it stems back on, like, you being a successful entrepreneur, you being a good operator.
Yeah, so, like, I'm the complete opposite. So, like, my hardest part was getting the first clean. So, for me, when I started my business, I had the idea in July, finally started taking action at the end of July, and then for just, like, some context, that's when I was moving to Miami. So, that summer, that's when I met Parker for the first time. We were Arizona, Phoenix. NFTs were like kind of dying off, but like we had an event for Chilling Chameleons, which was this NFT project where we met each other. But at that time, that's when I knew that I wanted to move to Miami because I just graduated. I was telling my boy Pod, we were just like, dude, like there's no way that I want to be living at my house after we graduate, especially if I don't have a job lined up. Like I was making good money at the time with crypto and everything, but that was dying down. So like I knew that there was something that I had to do to put myself in an uncomfortable position where it's like now I can restart. I need to figure out a way to start making some like recurring revenue, stuff like that. Eventually, long story short, found the business model for remote cleaning, decided to take action on that, and then I moved to Miami in August. So I got down there second week of August, had to move everything in, had to get my furniture, all that. So like 2 weeks, wasn't really taking any action, wasn't really doing that much work. But then like I got everything set up, hired a couple cleaners, but then I just couldn't get a single lead through LSA. And like Google LSA is the first thing that if you guys ever want to join Drop Service Academy, it's in our action to-do list. Google local service ads is like the first thing that we have you getting set up because you got to get the background check, you got to get your insurance, which doesn't really take that much time, but it's like the reviews that you have to do to get verified. So it takes like 2 weeks to get approved before you can actually set an ad budget and then start making money. And for me, I got through all of that. Now with like LSA, like the review process sucks. Like it takes a lot longer to get approved for the verified reviews as it was a couple years ago. So if you guys just started your cleaning businesses a couple months ago, then like that's what you're dealing with. I didn't deal with that. It took me probably 11 days, 12 days to get all my reviews verified. But for me, I didn't know what to do for the service areas. So I had like Miami, Wynwood, Edgewater, like just like common like cities, towns, didn't have any zip codes, had like 5 service areas, and I wasn't getting a single lead. And then I was 2 weeks in, one of my boys, Peter, who I met in the building that I moved to, he was trying to like make some money, start something. We've been going to the gym every single day, so he was like, we might as well just do something together. So I got in a room with him. We made a deal. He started working with me with the cleaning business, but I was like, dude, like we're not getting any leads. We have to figure out how we can start getting some inbound leads through LSA. In the meantime, Peter's been in Miami for I think 3 years at the time when I met him, so he had like a lot of connections. So we were just doing some like bookings with people within his network, whether they were just friends and family, or he was connected in like the music production space because I don't know how to describe what he was doing before, but he was just like a hustler. But what I did to fix my problem for that is I started calling the cleaning businesses that were ranking 1, 2, 3 at the top of LSA in Miami, and I just had a conversation with them. I was like, hey, I started my cleaning business going on 2-3 weeks, and this is like the middle of October now, and I was like, I'm not getting any leads. Like, what am I doing wrong where clearly whatever you're doing is working because you're the first thing that comes up on Google? And one of the ladies that I talked to, she sent me the list of all the service areas that she had, and it was like 50. She had all the zip codes, all the towns and cities within the area. So when the light bulb went off, and then I went in there, and she was basically like, yeah, just literally copy like what we have. Like, we're in the same area. We go all the way to this location. I don't know if you have cleaners that are over there. It's about 45 minutes away, like closer to Fort Lauderdale. So I did that, and then a day went by, didn't get any leads. 2 days went by, didn't get any leads. But then after that, started getting leads. And then there wasn't really that much of a problem for me getting to 10K. Like, our first month fully operational, I think we had our first actual clean from an inbound lead at the end of October. So like October 29th, 30th. That first full month we did 10K. So it's not like you. I think it took you like 2.5, 3 months to get to that 10K threshold. For me, immediately we hit 10K just because for whatever reason I was just absolutely printing ads or printing leads through Google LSA. And then that second month we did 18. And then in January we started doing the commercial cleans. So then we were at like, I think 16. We went down a little bit because we weren't stacking as much recurring revenue. But then after that it scaled upwards from there.
You know what's crazy though? It's like it all just stems back from like asking somebody for help. Right, like in this day and age, like nobody does that anymore, unless like you provide like a little bit of value for them. Like all you did, ask someone what they were doing, copied them, boom, completely changed the business.
I do like 99%, or not 99%, but like 80% of people that were in my position probably would quit or give up. Like, oh, like, whoever told me on the internet that, like, this was going to work, I was going to be getting leads. Like, clearly they're lying because I don't have success. And then they just throw in the towel and they figure out another way to, or go on to the next venture. But it's like, dude, like, you got to just be vocal and ask people. Like, try to problem solve. People don't know how to problem solve. People don't know how to, like, critically think. And it's not even like I was, like, Einstein. It's just like, oh, let me just call the people that, like, have LSA clearly working and just see what they have to say. And then, like, obviously, like, the first person I call, like, they don't tell me. They're just like, oh, are you trying to book a clean or whatever? And then they hang up because Google LSA, you have to dispute a lead if it's not an actual person that's offering or asking for a service that you offer or whatever. But then it's like you get on the phone with a 35-year-old lady that was probably having a pretty good week and she's nice, she's genuine, and she's like, oh, like, he's clearly, like, in need of help, so I might as well just give him some advice. And it literally changed the entire trajectory of everything that we were doing.
Yeah, I mean, that's the basis of entrepreneurship, I think, is being willing to seek out people that know more than you, and then, you know, being humble enough to ask for the help, and hopefully someone gives it to you. And then the stuff that you don't get told, you kind of figure it out on your own. I mean, I've scaled up really quickly, and so far it's just been up and up and up. But definitely, I would say it was largely thanks to the role that you guys played in my getting started. And, you know, I certainly put in work and effort into it, and obviously, you know, there was a lot of time that went into it, but it was a relatively seamless process. I just made sure that we crushed fulfillment, and I sold recurring, and I did the cold calling, and I printed the flyers. Like, I just did the legwork, and the business model itself carried the rest of it. You know, there was no real magic behind it. I mean, I came from a background. I went to NIU. I studied biomedical engineering. My whole life I grew up, I thought I was like going to be a doctor or like create prosthetics, like do something like that. I was very much like a brain when I was growing up. And
your dad was a doctor too, right?
Yeah, my dad is a doctor, and just really felt that same way. And then maybe around 16, 17 years old, I got in my first entrepreneurial ventures. You know, I started just like flipping streetwear, shoes, Supreme, you know, Jordans, whatever. And then end of high school came, I got a sales role. I was selling Cutco, like pushing knives to my friends and family, you know. And
who was your, like, internet guru that, like, opened your eyes about, like, internet money?
I don't know if I really had, because I really didn't start to get into the internet money content until after I started making internet money. Because I went to college and then I was still reselling, kind of doing some side stuff, really got big into crypto and NFTs. And then I think from there, that's kind of when I was like, wow, digital money is really real. Like, there's something here. You know, I loved Iman Godse just because I like the matter of factness of him. He's not like a flashy, like, oh, you know, you have to do this, you know, you're a loser if you're not making 20K. Like, so much of that shit is so played out to me. But he was very much just like, there's an opportunity in front of you and you're letting it pass you by.
Did you watch his videos before he was, like, successful?
I would say I picked him up like midway through.
Like, what year? Like 2020 or?
Yeah, I would even say 2021, like beginning of 2021. Like, he was already known. I'm definitely not going to say I found him as like a diamond in the rough.
Well, that's when he blew up, but, like, I don't know if you even knew this, but, like, Iman, he had his YouTube channel in, like, 2015, and he was, like, doing the shit that we were doing in 2020. He's, like, camera on a tripod in his room, and he was documenting every single thing that he was doing. So, like, his inspiration was Tai Lopez, as, like, a lot of people, like, SMMA. And he started his SMMA agency in, like, 2017, 2018. And he was documenting everything on YouTube. And he was making, like, $5K a month it took him 9 months to get his first client. Wow. But he would have YouTube videos every single week showing what he was doing and, like, aspiration, like, I know I'm going to be successful, like, whatever, yada, yada, yada. And then first client he got in 9 months. And then after that, he was able to scale it to, like, 15 to 20K a month for, like, another year. So it's like Iman was literally in your shoes when he started. And now he's worth $40-50 million and he's doing these crazy deals.
It's consistency, dude. It's like if you stick to the path, it's not a get rich quick. I don't know if it's like if it's the whole NFT crypto space that really changed people's minds on like, hey, we can make like $1 million overnight, but it's like there is no magic business that's going to go make you $1 million overnight. If you want to go get something, cleaning's a boring business. There's no magic to it. It's been around for centuries, right? But if you stick to the path, you compound month over month, you're just going to keep stacking recurring revenue. You're going to keep on making more money.
Yeah, it's just about repeatedly, it's repetition, right? That's it. Whether it's sport, whether it's academics, whether it's business, or whether it's building a relationship or improving the way that you think about yourself or talk to yourself, it's repetition. It's doing it right over and over and over again when no one is watching, doing it right over and over again when you're failing, doing it right over and over again when you're not seeing the results that you want to see, and then eventually it just becomes inevitable. You know, at some point, if you refuse to quit, you no longer have failure as an option. It's just you continue to try until you succeed. Success is inevitable at that point. And then whether you get it in 9 months or whether you get it in 3 years or whether you get it in 2 months, you know, it will come when you're ready for it if you're diligent and you're patient enough to wait till you get there.
Yeah, I think the hardest part, like, everyone wants to make money online. Like, that's pretty blatant. Like, a lot of people are scared to, like, actually try. But, like, the hardest part for me, and probably most of you, is just, like, finding that thing that it is that you want to do that you're actually passionate about. Because, like, if you're not passionate about what you're doing, like, obviously you're not passionate about cleaning, but you're an operator. Like, you're a leader. Like, you're passionate about scaling, building something, and then being the reason why it's gone from X to Y. And, like, hiring, marketing, sales, like, these are all the pillars that we have, like, in the cleaning business. And you're essentially an operator. Like, you're facilitating an actual business that's not some random, like, NFT pixel. Like, you have real people that you're creating jobs for, and they're going out and they're doing labor, like physical labor, and you're making someone's day, whether it's someone that's living in an apartment or a house or if they have an Airbnb, whatever it is. Like, you're providing a service that is a net positive to society, and you're facilitating the entire operations around it. You're pulling all the strings, you're setting all the prices. Like, you're clearly passionate about being an operator, being a leader. I met him because he was a community manager. Like, he's a man, like, he is the guy. Like, he is like, your best quality is probably, like, building relationships outside of just, like, the business aspects. Remote cleaning, everything in this industry is building relationships. So it's like, you guys just gotta find that thing that you're passionate about and then just go all in on it. Because if you go all in on something that you're, like, truly passionate about, there's going to be money on the other side. Like, any industry possible or any skill or any hobby that you have, you could probably monetize it and make money. Like, not many people want to just get a job and work a 9 to 5 their entire life and make just enough to pass by. Like, that's not going to cut it, especially now.
Yeah.
Like,
because you're not even making enough to get by anymore. You know, it's not even enough to graduate and get a decent job. You can't even buy the house or raise kids, pay for the college, go on vacation. Like, you can't do those types of things. And even that wasn't like the most fulfilling life, but if you could work hard and you get your 2 weeks a year, you go on vacation and you could have a nice house and a happy family and your kids could play sports, and, you know, that at least was like enough. Yeah. It was like you could find some fulfillment in that. But now, I don't even think we're going to get that. I don't even think most of the people growing up in our generation are going to get the white picket fence and the house that they own and the dog and the kids and the, you know, this typical kind of American dream we think about. It's dissolving in front of us. People are never going to be able to own and do things like that.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think's causing that disconnect? Like, why are people not consistent with what they do anymore? Why do people not want to put in the effort to actually achieve where they want to go?
Because there's so many distractions. People are fucking so distracted today. There's so many random things going on. You have, like, the social media with X or Twitter, whatever, just, like, pushing all this hate that just distract people, have people talking, and then it's just like, shit's expensive. Like, people don't have time. Time is your most valuable asset. Once you get to an age, and, like, I hate saying this, but it's like the reason why I do this is so, like, my kid could actually, like, whenever I have a family one day or whatever, how that looks in a few years or 10 years, like, my goal is to be able to not only just, like, provide for my family, but, like, allow my kid to actually, like, have a childhood, grow up, and then have time to be able to decide what it is that he's passionate about so he can pursue what he wants to do, whether it's me passing down whatever I built or him starting his new thing. Like, that's his decision at the end of the day or her decision at the end of the day, but it's like people don't have the resources or the time to be able to dial in on something. And then like also like just all the distractions that are going on. There's so many different toxic things that people are just like focusing on rather than like the actual bigger picture.
I honestly think it's just like the dopamine rush that social media gives you, the instant gratification where it's like, hey, you're literally just getting what you want every second as you scroll. Like back in the day, like you could just work and it's like you actually got the gratification when you achieve something. Now you don't achieve anything, you doom scroll and you get that same satisfaction and like dopamine rush.
Yeah, and it's almost like the disease is what people think is the cure, right?
Yeah.
Like they think that what they need is an easier life. They think that what they need is simplicity and less responsibility and, you know, less expectation, and everyone is dealing with anxiety and depression and they're dealing with these feelings of being inadequate, and we all just feel like, okay, let me go to the deepest, darkest, safest place that I can find, which is alone by myself, doing nothing, scrolling on my phone, you know, in my own world, where I can just watch stupid, funny videos all day, where I can disassociate from reality, from my responsibilities, when I think what we need to be doing is kind of just going at the issues that we have and trying to fix them rather than letting them kind of overcome us. But we're not really being equipped to do that. Everything is just like rejecting tradition and rejecting, you know, anything that is orthodox and anything that is, you know, old school is viewed as bad. But I think in a lot of ways we're straying from the good parts. I mean, do I love the best parts of the modern world that are remote work and, you know, having the internet and having the ability to create content and connect with people all across the world and the ability to, you know, really have just such a wider, greater influence? Absolutely. But at the same time, like, to throw away everything from the past as bad and disgrace just all convention, I think it's biting us in the ass, man. The food that we're eating, the lifestyle that we live, the media that we consume, just the, you know, sexualization of everything. It's just like we're living in this one giant, confusing, distracting world that you just dissociate from reality nonstop.
Dude, Justin Waller said this. He was like, no one knows what love is anymore. Because it's like, let's just say you guys get in a relationship with someone, and this is like normal. So like, there's always like those rare commodities. Like, you're an anomaly. Like when it comes to just like starting up your cleaning business, it took you like 10 days to get everything, or 14 days before you had your first sale. But like, you have a girlfriend, you date her for 3-4 years, and then something happens, you guys break up or whatever. That's like today, and then it's like, oh, like you can still see her like stuff on Instagram, like you can see what she's doing. Oh, she's in a new relationship. You're getting all her updates on Snapchat, whatever. Like, we have everything at our hand. Like, anything that you could ever possibly figure out is like in your phone. People like don't take it for granted. But it's like, imagine you had that relationship in like 1963. You're dating her for 3-4 years. You're about to go off to college, or you're about to go off into like the Army or the Marines. You never see her again.
No.
Like, you don't
Ever.
like, you literally never like get any updates on her, like, unless you like go out of your way to like see her in person. But it's like, you're not seeing like what she's doing on a day-to-day on her phone. Like, it's crazy.
It's over.
So like, what's that like, it's just like so weird to like fathom. Like,
I
we're a
think-
completely different species.
I think the disconnect is like literally just caring about other people's life so much, and it's like always just like trying to envision yourself in someone else's life, where it's like, hey, like you see someone on social media that's like is like traveling all the time, and it's like now you're depressed because you're stuck over in Missouri and you can't like get out of the house, or you're not traveling like that, and it's like you realize that that's out there. Like 50 years ago, it's like half the people wouldn't even leave their hometown, like, or at least like 100 miles from where they were born. And it's like now it's just like everything is right there at your fingertips. You're living through everyone else's life and you're not focusing on your own life.
Yeah. To answer your question, that actually just made me think. like the number one reason like why people aren't taking action is because there's so many things that they have the opportunity to distract themselves from like what they're actually trying to do. So it's like they see that guy that is now flying from Miami to, I don't know, like Tokyo, because he just wants to go on like a 3-week vacation and travel the world or whatever. I'm sitting at my computer, my phone, like I see that, I'm just like a kid in college that like is trying to figure it out but can't. I see that and now I'm like upset because it's like, oh, like why can't he do that? Like why can't I be as good as that or as successful as that? It's like, cool, now I can just like go to Netflix, watch Suits, or I could like do anything, like play Madden, like watch a sports, like there's so many different outlets that I can just like go to distract me from the fact that like I should be doing this, I should be taking action in that. And it's just like so easy for people to just get lost.
And it's all fake is the other part, right? Like you look at social media and you're getting truly like someone's highlight reel. Like people don't post like super depressed, horrible, shitty day today. I hate myself. Like that's not what people are posting. You're getting the story of, oh, I'm in Miami. My life is so great. You know, I get everything is perfect for me. And you see that. And then we just as a species, we fixate on the bad in our own lives. So now you're comparing somebody else's best, their highlight reel, to your worst, the things that you're thinking of yourself in your own life. And it's like, how could you possibly feel good about that? I mean, I speak with people all the time. You know, we start to talk about money and how much money we've made or I've made and what things we've done and accomplished. And people all the time that are like, wow, you know, I wish that I could have your life. I wish that I could make that type of money or have that type of experience or whatever that is. And then I say, okay, you know, step one, work 100 hours a week. Do that for the next 6 months. Well, I could never do that. All right, there you go. You don't wish you had my life. You wish you had my success. You wish you had this one highlight reel. You wish you got to travel. You wish you got to do X, Y, Z. You know, oh, I wish I had, a great relationship like you. I wish that I have found my person already. You're so lucky. Okay, do long distance with someone for 4 years. Commit to that person when you can't see them for months at a time. Put all the distractions aside. Stay focused. Give someone all of your time and attention and money and effort for years with no guarantee that it's going to pay off for you. Well, I can't do that. No, I get distracted all the time by other people, by, you know, it's not convenient for me to do long distance. Then you don't want what I have, you want the end result. You know, and that's the problem is we just see the result. We just see the good part, and then we, in our mind, will spin that to be, well, they just were given this. They work the same amount of hours and they work the same amount of hardness that I do, but they got 10x more out of it. No, that's not reality.
Dude, that's why people resonate with Iman so much because, like I was saying before, he literally documented his failure for 3 years or 4 years before he started seeing his success. So it's like, you can't be any more raw than that.
Nope.
Like, he showed, like, I'm trying to do this, getting there, but it's going to take some time. Failed at this, failed at that. Oh, got my first client, and now he's crushing it. And now he's got like 5 companies. Like, people don't show the bad, they only show the good.
Yeah. I mean, because the bad isn't entertaining most of the time, right? But Iman wasn't making content to be entertaining. He was making content to document his life and to share that. And that's why it's so valuable. But a lot of times people either, one, they are only worried about clicks and views and likes and engagement. So for them, they're not going to be really concerned with, okay, do I want to share the bad? Well, no, people aren't going to resonate with that. They're not going to like it. They're not going to think it's cool. They're not going to think I'm cool. Or the second thing, which goes in the same vein of they're just too prideful. It's too hard to post and say, yeah, I worked on this for 3 months and I didn't make a penny. It's too hard to say, yeah, I spent the last 60 hours a week for 8 weeks and I could barely make rent because I was trying to build a business. That's embarrassing. That's shameful. It's hard to say that. But the reality is you're doing more than most people. You're trying. You're doing something. And that's more than a lot of people that can even say. But people don't want to share that because they look around and all they see is winners. All they see is everyone else's best life and most success. It's just not, it's not the reality, you know?
I got a question for you. What are you doing this for? What is it like, why you wake up every day to do what you do, like for the end goal? Like what's all of the businesses that you've started, everything that you've built over the last 18 months, like why are you doing this?
Couple of reasons. One, I love actually succeeding. Like stemming back from sports, right? It's like, hey, it's just like that drive to like actually win, and I want to bet on myself. Like I don't want to like have all my eggs in someone else's basket, go make somebody else rich. Like I want the failure, I want to wear it on my chest, and then I want to actually like reap the benefits when I know that I will succeed. I mean, there's a lot of like end goals in mind where it's like, hey, like I never want to even look at a price tag and just like swipe my credit card. I want to make sure the kids and the family that I have like actually never have to worry about money and get what they want. Obviously not in like a spoiled manner, but like travel. I want to live my life, and it all stems back from like creating that wealth at a young age so it can compound. Succeeding at a young age so it can compound. Make money online, diversify into assets.
The quote I hate the most is enjoy your 20s.
Oh my God, bro. Yeah.
It's like you should be working the hardest that you humanly possibly can in your 20s.
I mean, think about Hormozy. He's literally like, oh, like the people are out there saying like the 30s are the new 20s and like things like that. And it's like, no, it's just because you're trying to delay actually working hard.
Yeah, or now you're trying to play catch up. So you're trying to convince yourself you have more time than you do. Yeah, I mean, I have very similarly to you been always motivated by success itself. Like the feeling of completing a goal, of achieving something, honestly, no matter how big or how small, it's just intoxicating. Like it is just like it's such a good feeling. It's so rewarding. And then when you expand it over a long time horizon, when you think about, you know, being able to provide for your wife, being able to provide for your children someday, your parents, being able to give them the life, you know, the leisure that they gave you when you were growing up, those types of things. And I think for me, like, my biggest why has always been that I want the people around me to reap the benefits of my sacrifices. Because I understand that I'm willing to sacrifice more than a lot of people are. I'm willing to work harder than most people, work longer than most people, delay gratification longer than most people. Like, I am not afraid of sacrificing, but I also don't expect that people in my life will do the same. And I want them to be able to enjoy the fruits of my labor.
Yeah. Did you guys, like, growing up from, like, a young age, and then, like, when you finally started, like, your brain started to develop and everything like that, when you realized that, like, you actually have to, like, make a name for yourself or whatever, did you always know that you're going to be successful? I'm not saying that we are. Like, we still have a lot to go. Like, there's a long road still ahead of us, like, for this journey. But, like, have you ever just knew that you're going to be successful?
100%.
Because every single person that I ask that's, like, down here, not, like, working a job, like, they say the same thing.
Yeah.
And, like, I was the same way. And, I don't know, it's just, like, I feel like part of, like, how you're, like, raised, like, growing up, because if I get the honor, if I get straight A's or whatever, like, just, like, little things like that, it's like it was expected.
Yep, always.
And it's like 100%. I just always had to perform at a high level.
And you held yourself to that standard as well. That's not just your environment, but it's also, like, yourself, you know. Obviously, your parents, you know, your siblings, like, people in your life are pushing you to be successful, and they're setting a standard of excellence for you, but it also comes from yourself, you know. Like, second place never felt good. No. You know, close never scratched the itch. It was always like, win, be the best, because you can. Nothing was out of reach. It was just, all right, how hard am I going to have to work for this? How long am I going to have to work for this? You know, what am I going to have to give up? There was never something that I wanted that I felt like, well, I just can't.
Yeah. That's one of the reasons why I got into, like, wrestling. It was literally like one-on-one. At the end of 6 minutes, unless the match ended early, it was like there is a clear, distinct winner and loser. I either won or I lost. I either had that gratification of winning or I knew I had to go improve. Watch film, go improve. I think like a lot of people these days just have like a completely skewed version of like what success looks like. All they think is like success is $5-10 million, and it's like, oh, like that's when I'll be successful. But it's like success is waking up in the morning, looking at your to-do list, and then at 9 p.m. at night, seeing that everything on your to-do list is crossed off. That is success. Do that for 365 days and see where you're at.
Yeah. It's a lifestyle more than anything else. It's not a number. It's not something you cross off. It more than anything, it's a feeling of accomplishment, and I also think it's a sense of fulfillment that you get from being aligned with your skills, your interests, and then your needs, and if you can match all three of those, I mean, sure, having $10 million in the bank would be great, but I also feel like having a business that I didn't have to ever think about that made me $15K a month, that'd be fine. That I could live on that for the rest of my life.
100%.
$15K a month, easy.
Maybe not in like 10 years. But.
Yeah, maybe not in 10 years when a McChicken's $100. But yeah, it's there's a lot of things that I think we've kind of moved away from what the reality of the situation is and into this kind of distorted view. And I also want to say, for anyone that may be watching this, don't think that myself or John or Mark are saying that if you have a job that you're working, you aren't successful. Or if you are starting a business and you're struggling with it, you aren't successful. Because that's not what it is. Being unsuccessful is accepting a state of unsatisfactory living, right? That is failing. Failing is my life sucks and I don't want to change it. I hate my job, but I don't have another option. I wish I had more money, but I'm not going to try something. I'm not going to work harder. I'm not going to do something different. That is failing. Anything beyond that, you are either in the process of succeeding, you're either figuring it out, or you've already figured it out. If you love your job and you are excited to go to work every day and you make the most out of your weekends and you're putting money away and you're heading in the direction, by all means, like, that's a great place to be. Don't give that up. A lot of people would trade a lot for that. But if that's not you, and I know the majority of people it's not, then take a look in the mirror and think about whether you are a victim of your situation or whether you are the cause of your situation. And a lot of people are the latter when they think they're the former. They think that they are a byproduct of their environment when they have created that environment for themselves, and they choose to stay in that environment that doesn't suit them.
100%. It's you versus you.
Absolutely. And there's no way that you're going to see a golden brick road laid out in front of you that says, go here, do this, do that, don't do that. That's not how life is going to be. But when you stop trying, when you accept, well, my life sucks, especially as a 25-year-old, a 30-year-old, a 20-year-old, you're like, well, my life sucks and this is how it's going to be. That is a loser. That is the definition of a loser, is someone who has said, this is where I'm at, I hate it, I'll just stay here till I die.
It's like, dude, you have 70 years. you have 3 times the amount of life that you've already lived, 4 times the amount of life that you already lived. Like, you just have to change. You just have to put one foot in front of the other, as like cliche as it is, and like rip the Band-Aid off. Try something.
Yep.
Please fail.
Yeah,
Go ask for help.
Me and Cody were talking about this yesterday, actually, because that's when we did the interview with him. But I asked him like a similar question, like his motivation or like way to be like stay disciplined is when he started doing his like first, it wasn't really like necessarily a business, but like getting into the workforce, becoming a police officer, like taking risks essentially. He was like, dude, like just take the risk. Worst case scenario, you lose a little bit of money and you just make it back. Because like that's all it is. Especially if you're like 18 or 20 years old and you go to college or you live at home. If you guys are trying to start a business and like you think for a second that if you put
75-80% of your time into it, you're going to see success. Just try it. Because worst scenario, you have no expenses and you fail. And if you fail, that means that you actually took action and tried to become successful with that thing. And maybe you do fail. And like, there's nothing that you can do about it. But like, just try, take risk. Because the last thing you want to be doing is, like what Parker was saying, like you're 40 years old, you're trapped, you feel like you're a byproduct, you're like, you think that there's no way that you can get out of this situation. Like, now you're an adult, like you're no longer a kid, you just rotted through your 20s, you rotted through your 30s, now you're trying to figure out what it is that you have to do to become happier. It's like, the last thing you want to do is have that thought in your head. It's like, oh, well, if I actually did what I wanted to do when I was 20, maybe I wouldn't be here. Like, because that sucks.
Yeah, and you definitely don't want to get to the end of your life, whenever that is, and just look back with things you wish you would have tried, things you wish you would have done, a life you wish you would have lived, and you're never too far in, but at the same time, the responsibilities, they add up, you know? Have a couple kids, have a mortgage, have a wife, have a husband, you know, be in a situation where you have a whole big house of cards, and it gets really hard to start moving those cards around without everything tumbling. If you're a young person watching this and you're like, too risky, I think the biggest risk for a young person is not giving themselves an opportunity to succeed. The biggest risk you can have is deciding for your future self what your limitations are and saying 30-year-old me will never get to be this person because of the decisions I make right now as 20-year-old me or 25-year-old me. It's saying that 50-year-old me or my future children will never have X thing because I'm not willing to take a risk or double down or work harder or make a sacrifice for something in the short term. It's like the ultimate version of delayed gratification is your future self, your future family, and the people and the life that you kind of could have lived if you would have given yourself an opportunity to do so. And what's meant to be is going to be.
It doesn't even need to be a business.
No.
Like, it literally just go learn a skill. People just don't understand anymore that it's like, oh, like I'm just going to keep doing what I'm like assigned to do or go do this and be like unhappy. Like, go learn a skill that you're passionate about and watch the doors open. Like, just watch the opportunity start falling into place because now you're passionate, now you're starting to learn, that's compounding, now you're meeting people that are also in that skill, that open up doors, and maybe you guys start a business together one day, or you just go into another job where you can make a lot more money through that skill that you actually enjoy.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever have to like audit yourself? So for example, me, like I was saying this in the beginning, I audited my situation that I was in after I graduated. It's like, I'm living at home right now. I'm chilling. Like, I have a decent amount of money that I made over the couple of years. Like, cool, but I'm comfortable. So I audited the situation. I was hanging out with a lot of my friends because they all had jobs that were lined up for, like, either the beginning of the summer or they were moving and, like, they had to do, like, the location, all that. And I was just, like, sitting on my hands. So, like, I audited my situation. And I decided, like, I have to change what I'm currently doing so I can put myself in an uncomfortable situation. But, like, did you guys ever have to audit, like, what you were doing in a current situation where it's like, oh, like, maybe I should stop doing this, or maybe I should stop hanging out with these people, maybe I should focus on this so I can actually continue doing what I should be doing? Like, how, like, because you've had you've had situations in your life where you had to go back to the drawing board. So, like, yeah. I feel like you've definitely audited yourself.
Yeah, I can think of one time in particular, actually, not too long ago, probably about a year ago, let's say. I had just retired from playing. I was just back from Europe. I took my fiance there for a whole month. We had a great vacation. It was just bliss. We got engaged. Everything was wonderful. Came back, and we kind of got settled back into real life. And my playing career was over. I no longer had any income stream. My fiance had graduated school. She now was working full time. She was working as a civil engineer, doing construction engineering. She is on a job site all day, cooking in 100-degree weather with a hard hat, watching asphalt get poured 12 hours a day. and I was sitting at home, fucking twiddling my thumbs,
Scrolling
on TikTok, probably.
See my videos, like,
Literally.
starting doing business.
Like, sitting there just being like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, and you know what my problem was? The thing that I had to audit myself on was I had to realize that I was back at a point where nothing was beneath me. You know, and you probably had this experience as well. Actually, both of you have now, where you get to a point where you get used to making a certain amount of money, and then you start to feel like things are beneath you. When you make, say, $10K a month consistently, and that $10K a month income stream dries up, you would be like, well, going and working at McDonald's, that's behind me. Like, that's beneath me. I won't, I'm going to figure something else out, right? And I felt that way, and I tried to figure something else out, and I failed. And I tried to figure something else out, and I failed. And then I failed again. And then I'm looking around saying, I'm not making any money. My fiance is busting her ass every day while I'm sitting at home scrolling, doing nothing. And I'm sitting here thinking that things are beneath me. Like, nothing is beneath me at this point. That was the audit for myself, was you need to grow the fuck up and realize that you are not above anything as you are right now. And I got my ass in the car and I drove DoorDash 12 hours a day, 7 days a week for 2 months. And it was how I contributed. It was how I brought income in and how I gave myself an opportunity to buy more time and try to figure out what my next thing was going to be. And then that was kind of towards the tail end of that was when I stumbled into, okay, this remote cleaning, this could be something, this might be something I want to try. And then I was like, all right, I'm going to shift my time there. The 2 months that I spent working kind of built me up enough reserve, plus my fiance's income. I was like, all right, we have a reserve, we have a savings, she has money coming in, I can kind of bet on myself and try this. And now, obviously, 6 months later, we're doing $1,000 every day plus. So, it's a totally different situation, but that was my audit, was put your fucking pride aside and realize that at one point in your life,
ego in your pocket.
Exactly, at one point in your life, this was beneath you. It's not that point anymore. The current point, as you stand here today, you need to bring some money onto the table. Go do what you can do.
Dude, the day I invested $5,000 into VXV Vector AI or whatever it was called.
Vector Space, yeah.
Vector Space AI, and that $5,000 turned into like 35 in 8 days, 9 days, whatever, how many days it was. That's when I knew I was never going to be working a job again. So then it's like I get comfortable. Yep. And then I started like pivoting within like that entire industry. I was like being more of like a marketer. I was like getting people in group chats with each other, just like facilitating relationships, getting paid for that. And then like I'm just like on cloud 9 because I have like this consistent money coming in. And it's like, oh, like I'm unstoppable, like I'm unbreakable, like whatever. And then it goes away.
Yeah.
And then you get humbled.
And you start to think you're
100%.
special, right? You start to be like, oh, I am so special. Like, I've got the fucking Midas touch. Everything I touch turns to gold. I can't stop making money. And then when it dries up, it's just like the most humbling thing in the world.
It's so humbling, dude. And like, it's just, adversity is very important along like the whole journey of everything that we're doing, because it's like if you're never wrong or if you never like mess up or if everything goes your way, then like you're not going to learn from your mistakes, because then you're just going to get hit like a truck one day.
Yep. One day a mistake will come that's too big and you're not going to see it coming and you're going to have no experience on how to handle it, and it's going to kill you. It's going to flatten you.
And like that's why you need a mentor too. Like not even if it's like someone to like help you like start a business or whatever, just like a life mentor, someone that's in a position where like you want to be one day. Like I'm not saying like me, I'm saying like a 60-year-old person that is worth $30-40 million and they see something in you that they saw in themselves when they were 20, and like you're getting on calls with them and they're basically just like guiding you through like your entrepreneurial journey or whatever. It's like that's why you need someone like that in your life too. And as you guys get into like the online space and like start making money, like you're gonna, again, relationships is everything. You'll probably meet someone where it's like they'll connect you to another person that ends up being your mentor. You don't even know it one day. But like someone in your corner like that will allow to like call out like what you're doing, where it's like, hey, like humble yourself here. Like you don't want to fuck up, because like we both got crushed in 2022 or whenever that was, and like I'm sure there's gonna be a lot more like things down the road where we're gonna have to like sit back a little bit and just like evaluate what just happened. But having another set of eyes in your decision making and like what you do and just conversing with that person is massive. And I'm not just saying like your parents, because a lot of you have parents that aren't entrepreneurs, or they went the societal route where it's like they work a job that you don't want to work one day. So it's like you love them, but they might not be the best person for that kind of conversation, or just
that kind of role model.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
a different type of role model.
Literally only take advice from somebody who's in a situation you want.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Like, so many people this day and age are trying to, like, hey, take advice from, like, their friend who all they're doing is going out and drinking 3 days a week and hitting the bars and waiting for the
And they're
weekend.
like telling you, it's like, don't buy that.
It's going to zero. It's like I'll buy the round, but like definitely don't invest your money, or like definitely don't start that business.
Bro, I don't think that like cleaning business is gonna do well for you. Like, you should look into it.
No,
exactly.
And take advice from people in their area of expertise, right?
Yeah.
You know, if you think your parents have a great marriage, take advice from them about marriage. If you think your grandfather was a super, super successful businessman, take advice from him about business. If you think your aunt and uncle were great parents, take advice from them about parenting, right? Just because someone has some status or some prestige or experience in one area of life doesn't mean that their advice transcends all areas of life. It doesn't mean that just because your parents are great role models for how to be a good person means they're great role models for what to do financially. Just because your boss is a great person to emulate financially and in business does not mean you should replicate their personal life decisions. I mean, you have to, ideally, you want to be the best part of the 10 people that you want to be most like. You want this person's lovingness and this person's discipline and attitude and this person's financial knowledge and this person's, interpersonal skills. Like, that is what you want. And you're probably not going to find one person that is that full package and does everything perfectly. And that's okay. You pick and choose the best parts of other people and you just try to emulate them as much as you can until you start to see those qualities emerging in yourself.
And then out of those 10 people that you're hanging around with, you want to be the least successful person out of all of them.
Yep.
Because like if you're just
100%.
surrounded by losers, like how are you going to be successful?
Yeah.
Because like it's the quote that you were saying, it's like you're the product or the byproduct of like 3 people that you're around the most or whatever.
Yep.
It's like, so like I know you guys hear this all the time, but it's like if you're around people that aren't doing what you want to achieve, they're just like not focused, not dialed on any interest that you have in store for what you think that you could be successful achieving on the road. It's like you're going to be distracted, kind of like what we were talking about earlier, and you're not going to stay the course. You're just going to fall off.
If your daily conversations are just about, like, what bars are we going to go hit, or look at how the Flyers did today, or like, like what
Sixers.
Yeah, it's like look at the Sixers, like we're about to go lose to the Knicks today, and like I'm a Sixers fan. But basically, if those are your conversations, you need to like wake up.
Yeah.
You need to realize that it's like, okay, you're going to continuously be stuck in that path. If you want to actually have like intellectual conversations, you need to go surround yourself with people that are constantly talking about business, or constantly talking about traveling, or constantly talking about leveling up in some aspect of their life. Because
the funniest like thing is when someone's like, dude, we just got Saquon. It's like, did you profit off that? Like, it's like, bro, like I'm trying
on the team?
Like, are you on the team? Like, were you the one that made the trade? Are you the one that like got the check after that? Like, are you gonna be signing all those endorsements that he's gonna be bringing in?
it's like, dude, we squeaked that one out in overtime yesterday. Like.
I'll honestly say, dude, this has been one of the hardest things that I've struggled with, is, being surrounded by people that aren't up to chops in a lot of the ways that I aspire to be, and whether that be physically, no one that you hang around with is in better shape than you. Okay, you're probably not going to be pushed, or if you're like, no one is bigger than you. No one is stronger than you. Anything.
It's like I can help you out with that
exactly,
one.
right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm just surrounded
So
by
that's
a
why you're
bunch
here,
of people. And if you're the highest earner and you're the most successful, the most driven, the most focused, the best like all those things. And I'm not trying to like say, oh, I've got everything figured out. I'm saying that a lot of the circles that I operated in were just people that were just on different timeline than me, and it's not to say that they won't be successful. It's not to say that they won't have, whatever it is that they want to achieve. But if you're 3, 5, 10 years behind, it's hard for you to be pushed forward by people that are far behind you. So yeah, there's definitely no substitute for whether it be your friends or mentors or significant other or your parents, anyone in your life that you can get pushed by, or just use them as a target, a moving target for you to try to hit. That's what you need. That's what you need to be looking for.
What I heard is that you just said that you're not the biggest person in the room.
No, I am the biggest person in the room for here.
Definitely by height, but like,
I'd say height, weight, strength. It depends. Depends on the exercise.
Yeah, you might have me in the legs department.
Yeah. Well. But yeah, no, it's I don't know. I think we talked about a whole bunch of stuff today. We've been chopping up here for almost, holy shit.
No, that was an hour.
Long.
That was a solid first
Yeah,
episode.
that was like an hour and a half.
So if you guys are if you're still watching this, because we're like 58 minutes in, where do we want them to go? What do we want them to do? Like, what's the first thing that they can do after watching this video if they actually watched the entire thing, or if they saw clips of it?
We should have like an Easter egg for them. Like, if you made it this far, if you watched all the way to the very end, I want you to
send me your PO box.
no, to DM the word egg to the Drop Service Academy Instagram account. If you do that, we'll have a special surprise for you. We'll figure something out.
Comment egg on this video.
Actually, that's what we should do. Comment egg on this video. If you made it all the way to the end, if you made it an hour in of listening to us three jokers talk, comment the word egg. We'll send you something special. Otherwise, yeah, subscribe to the channel. Leave a like. If you enjoyed the video, let us know. If there's something you want us to talk about, let us know. There's going to be a lot of content coming out. A lot of solo content from me, solo content from John, duo content, all three of us content. We're keen on just sharing our experiences. And if you heard any of this stuff today and you're feeling called to actually take a jump and start something and try to bet on yourself, start a business, you feel interested in the success that we've had and what it is that we do, you can always go to the related video that is posted along with this one. Start there. It's a great place to just get a synopsis of what we do, how the business model works, how you could replicate it. And then from there, very easy for you to get in contact with us, learn about mentorship, learn about starting your own business, or even take a swing at it yourself. If you feel confident and you're feeling called to do it, there's no right or wrong way to get started. The only wrong thing to do is to not start at all.
Yeah, and so today's Friday, or today's Thursday, right?
Thursday, yeah.
Today's Thursday. We're going to be going on a boat Saturday for Mark's birthday. We're going to shoot another episode Sunday. So we're going to have the second episode is probably going to be like a week after this one comes out. For you guys, if you're watching this, we're going to have a little podcast just talking about like how our day was Saturday, whatever, and then just an update on, I don't know, just like another conversation like this. So be on the lookout for that video. But yeah, we're just going to be shooting a ton of content with Parker down here for the weekend. We're going to have a lot in store for you guys. And we got the free school group in the bio too. If you guys have questions about starting a remote cleaning business or any type of drop service business, like we were saying, all our socials are going to be in there. You can DM us on Instagram, whatever. But join that free school group too. We got about 1,700 people in there right now. And it's grown. There's probably going to be 5,000 by the end of the summer, if not more.
Oh, yeah.
And
Lots of value in there.
It's a free community. It's entirely free. It doesn't cost $1 to be in there. And it's basically just a group of people that are looking to start a business and either have or haven't taken action yet. So it's like, that's where you want to start. It's like we were saying, like, audit your current environment. Go to a free school group where
every single person in there, if they're not just trying to scam people or sell people and stuff, like you get those like ebbs and flows every once in a while, but like the majority of the people in there are in the same boat as you. So join that group, network, build relationships, make a post, and we'll see you in there.
And there's free courses, there's free guides, there's free everything in there. Like,
Yeah.
don't be immediately pushed away by the thought of, oh, I don't have money to commit to something. You do have time. You either have time or you have money. So
Yep.
if you don't have money and you're like, mentorship's not right for me, I'm not ready to start a business, go and learn something. Go and get some information, get some value for free, and then from there, use that to either start something or start saving money to eventually build something. Ultimately, no one is going to make you do it. We all have given you all of our thoughts. It's pretty clear where we stand. The only loser is someone that doesn't do anything. They watch this video and they just let the auto next video play and keep laying in bed watching YouTube all the rest of the day like they were doing before. Otherwise, guys, we appreciate you guys tuning in. And